So we were talking about the negative impacts and the fallouts on the environment, on the tribals, and on the politicians also, which is the concern in this article. This article is talking about that there are earlier what used to happen is that 30 million hectares of the forest land comprised 40% of that area, of that forest area, where the community forest rights were designated for the Gram Sabha. But now, when we are talking about the elections and the representative elections, so the case the forest land is converted for the non-forest uses, similarly, the rights of the forest lands will be curtailed and then they will be compelled to go out. They will not be considered as the tribals of that Gram Sabha constituency, and that will reduce their percentage into the reserved constituency. So this is a major concern that there were unreserved constituencies where 60% electorate were potentially right holders of the reserved categories which constitute scheduled tribes. But now 97 constituency where 20 to 50% of the electorate were rights holders, they will not be considered as such. And that is why the parliamentary committees are discussing this, and probably perhaps the case is going to be seen in the Supreme Court premises also. We can move forward. Then we have the farmers producer organizations. Farmer producer organizations are registering themselves into a platform which is the commerce e-commerce platform of the government of India, which is known as Open Network for Digital Commerce. Here, the larger farmer producer organizations are already the part, but the smaller farmers producer organizations are reluctant, and slowly and gradually they are coming and they are joining this program, and this will provide them a hedge against the discriminatory practices which we see on the private e-commerce platforms such as Amazon and Walmart. It will support the farmers, it will increase their incomes, and the Agri Ministry is very much focusing on supporting the FPOs. After getting in the ONDC, that is Open Network for Digital Commerce, the government is saying that we are expecting the sales to cross 5 million in the current fiscal year, that is 2024 till 25, and 59 FPOs have joined ONDC. They are coming and they are hailing from the eastern states, which is a impressive thing. What FPOs sell? They sell rice, pulses, honey, millets, mushrooms, spices, and value-added products. So both the raw materials and the value-added products is sold on the ONDC platform. This is a important information as far as the prelims examination is concerned. Then the RBI is coming with some sort of guidelines on the state guarantees. What do we mean by state guarantees? Is that the loans or the credit taken by the state or by the state association or by the state companies, that is considered as the state guarantees. A guarantee is a liability of a state processed by a contract that protects investor or the lender from the risk of borrowing defaulting. So RBI is saying, if we talk about the crux of this article, is that RBI is saying that there should be a 5% ceiling limit on the guarantee of the state so that the defaulting do not happen, the debt crisis do not take place, and the companies, the state companies, the PSUs, like distributive discoms we have, they should not go under the burden of the credit, under the burden of debt crisis. The state governments are often required to sanction and issue guarantees on behalf of state-owned enterprises. We can take the example of Kerala, we can take the example of Delhi, we can take the example of various other states. Then if they create obligation on state to make a payment on behalf of the borrower at future date, what actually happens is that any agency which is having affiliation with the state, they take loan and they say that we are having the guarantee on the basis of the state. But when they are unable to pay, that makes state liable under the provisions of the finance, under the provisions of the court, under the provisions of the credit mechanism. So the working group has recommended of the RBI that government guarantees should not be used to obtain finances through state-owned entities. They should not be allowed to create direct liability on the state. There should be a percentage criteria, and that is 5% ceiling limit. So ceiling on the issues of guarantee is desirable. It could lead to fiscal stress on the state government. Already we are seeing that the fiscal deficit happens in the state governments as well as in the central government, and the FRBM 2003 Act is not subscribed to its desired limits. So state government guarantees um, should not be misused. This is what RBI guidelines is talking about. Okay, next article, please. So here we can take a single line information that FPIs, that is foreign portfolio investors, are mandated to liquidate their holdings. This is a regulation as far as the SEBI is concerned, which deals with these, and they have to disclose the norms whenever they are investing in the India, because FPIs are seen as the unstable source of foreign income, and that leads to the hot money, that leads to the uh, uncertain sort of inflation the time the FPI is going out of your country. So that is a concern, and SBI SEBI regulates this. So this much we can take from here. Then we have melanistic tigers, melanistic Royal Bengal tiger of Similipal. So Similipal is known as the tiger reserve in the state of Odisha, and this is the only tiger reserve in the India which is hosting the melanistic tiger. Now, what do we mean by melanistic tiger? So we can see that these two tigers, one is or some sort of red and having some patches, and one is black, almost black. So this shows that the melanin is very much higher in this tiger, which happens when the interbreeding takes place, which simply means when you have the low population of one species and the confinement is large. The species is confined within an area. There is no cross breeding is happening. So within the group, within the habitat, the animal starts interbreeding, and that leads to the genetic changes, and that is the outcome, which is melanistic form of tigers. So Similipal Tiger Reserve in the Odisha is the only tiger reserve we have in India, which is hosting the largest number of melanistic tiger reserves and the melanistic tigers population. As far as the tigers is concerned, so we have a conservation body, that is National Tiger Conservation Authority. It is a national body, and we are hoping that it comes under the provisions of the WPA 1978. Then very small founding population of tigers are inbred, and they are isolated. Melanistic tigers have been recorded only in Odisha, as we talked about. And we have the principal chief conservator, who hails his power from the Biodiversity Act and the Wildlife Preservation Act, then again from the uh, central government Forest Act. So thank you so much, and we have covered this much.